Today let us see some CSS styling. So in the previous lectures we have discussed about CSS, and CSS is mainly used to style a web document according to a user. So it will help us to improve the presentation of a web page. In this session we will be dealing with some of the styles that are commonly added to a web document. So first one is how to add a background style to a document. A background image can be added to a document using the property background image. The syntax for adding background image to a CSS is background image URL. In brackets, you have to specify the path of the image. So the property used here is background image, and the value of the property is to be set as the URL of the image to be added to the background. Now let's see how this works with the help of a code. Here you can see an HTML code, and in this particular code we'll understand how to add different styles to a web document. So here I have used internal CSS. We have learned about different methods to add CSS to our web documents. So there were three different methods: inline CSS, internal CSS and external CSS. So here we are going to style a single web document. Therefore, we can use internal CSS. So in the previous session, we have discussed in detail about how to add internal CSS to a web document. Internal CSS is added using the style tag, and this inside the style tag, the styling is CSS is to be written. So here we are adding a style to a particular tag, and the tag specified here is body. So before adding a background image to a web document, let us see how to add a simple color to a document. So a background color can be added to a body of a document with the help of the property background color, and the value of the property can be set as any color that we want. So here I have written it as yellow. So let's see how this appears while we execute this in a particular browser. Here you can see how this web document appears while we have opened it in a web browser. So the background color of this particular document has been set as yellow. Now let's see how to add a background image to our web document. So in order to add a background image, you have to change the property name here. So the property that is to be used to change the styling to background image is background image, and the value of this should be given as URL. In brackets, you have to give the path of the image that is located. So I have saved an image called nature.jpg in my folder. So I'll give that address here and close the brackets, and after that I have to put a semicolon. Now save the document and let's see how this appears. So this is how a web page appears now after adding the background image. But here you can see the image that we have added to the background is smaller in size as compared to the size of the entire document. Here, in order to fit into our entire document, the image has been, if you want to remove this repetition of images, then we can modify our code and let's see what can be done. So in this, we can add another property called background repeat. Background hyphen repeat colon, and the value should be set as no repeat, and semicolon is to be added. Now save the document and execute it once again. You can see the difference. So here, this is how our document appears now. So here you can see that an image has been added to our web document as a background image, but it appears only to a particular corner of a document. So this is the actual size of the background to a document here. If you want this image to be displayed throughout the entire web document, then you have to make some changes to the code again. Now let us add another property, that is background size. Background size, and the size should be able to fit into the entire web document. So the value of this property is to be set as cover. Now let's see what will be the difference. Again, we can execute this using a web browser. Now we can see that the background image has been fitted to the entire web document and it is displayed only once. So this is how you can add a background image to a web document. Now let's see some other styling properties that can be included in a web document. Now let's see some text formatting properties that can be added to a web page. So one of the most important styling that can be added to a web page is text formatting. So there are different CSS properties that are used to format the text or content of the web page. So commonly used CSS properties for changing the format of a text are color, font family, and font size. So using these properties, you can change the style, color, and size of your content. The color property is used to define the text color to be used. That is, if you want to change the color of a text on a web document, then you can use the color property. And the value of the color can be varied according to the need of the user. Also, another property is font family. Font family defines the font to be used. That is, in which font the text is to be displayed will be defined by the font family property. Another one is font size property. That is, the size of the text to be displayed will be defined using this particular property. Let's see this with the help of an example. Here is the HTML code, and some styling has been provided to this HTML code. That is, here the background color of the body is set as yellow color. Now let us see how to style our document using the text formatting styles. So here let's see how this appears before adding styling to the text. This is how our web page appears before adding styling to the text. Only a background color is added to a document here. Now let's see what will be the modifications while adding these text formatting styles. So you can add, here we have defined H1 tag, P tag, and UL tags. So you can add styles to these different tags here. So let's see, H1 can be designed. So there will be a default size for H1 tag. So there is no need for adding font size for this tag. Let's add a color to this text, say red color. And also let us, so this is the heading. So let us align the text towards center. For text alignment, you can use text align property and the value is to be set as center. Now you can close the H1 styling. And if you want to add a paragraph styling, then use the tag T. Then color can be set as, say, blue. Now you can add some font family here. Font family value can be different according to the available font families. Let's take an example here, Verdana. Another one is font size. Font size property can also be set to some value, and the value of this can be given in pixels or in percentage. Now let's define this in pixels. So some stylings have been added to our document. See how this appears. This is how your web document looks now. So here we have added some CSS properties to the h1 tag and paragraph tag. So the color of the h1 tag has been changed to red color and it has been aligned to the center part. Similarly, the paragraph tag, text written inside the paragraph tag, has been formatted to some different color, and also the font size and font family has been changed. And here you can see a list of elements and no styling has been added to this, so it appears in its default form. This is how you can add style to your web document in order to make it more attractive and presentable. Thank you.